And welcome to Hannity. And in just a moment, we are going to unveil the most outrageous and irresponsible instances of liberal hate speech. And this time, it isn't spewing from some obscure radio host, B-list comedian. It's coming directly from the so-called mainstream news personalities. And then later, we'll continue our vetting of the president in our latest installment of The Real Obama. And tonight, we examine a new link between President Obama and one of the most controversial figures of all time. But first, joining me tonight to highlight some of the disgusting examples of radical rhetoric used by the so-called mainstream news personalities, the president of the Media Research Center, Brent Bozell. Brent, welcome back, sir.
How you doing, Sean?
All right, let's start with, and let me ask this question through this prism. You know, because there are some, I thought Tom Brokaw slanted a little left, but I think he tried to be a good news person. I think Brian Williams does as well. This is the network, the home of Tim Russert. I knew Tim Russert. I thought he was one of the greatest journalists ever. I mean, really tough, really fair. He moderated a debate. I've interviewed him many times. And this is what the NBC brand has become. Let's roll this first tape.
The Republicans lie. They want to see you dead. They'd rather make money off your dead corpse. They kind of like it when that woman has cancer and they don't have anything for her. That's how the insurance companies make money. I will fight these every night at 6 o'clock because I know what they're up against. I know what they want to do. They want to take down American workers. They want to outsource jobs.
He is an enemy of the country, in my opinion. Dick Cheney is. He is an enemy of the country. Lord, take him to the promised land, will you? See, I don't even wish the guy goes to hell. I just want to get him the hell out of here.
Do you know what they're talking about? Like this right-wing slut, what's her name, Laura Ingraham? Yeah, she's a talk slut.
We can go on. And here's the question, because NBC ran segments about conservative talk radio hosts. So my question is Brian Williams, Tom Brokaw, Matt Lauer, are they proud of the NBC News brand now?
Yeah, you have to wonder about that one, Sean. When you think of Tom Brokaw, when you think of the late Tim Russert, and he was a friend of all of ours, these are liberals. You could have a difference of opinion with Tom Brokaw or a difference of opinion with Tim Russert. But there was always a level, or almost always, there was a level of civility. And although we could continue disagreeing with one another, it was an honest disagreement. What we're talking about today is a brand new kind of face that you have on liberalism. It really has been taken over by radicals that far exceed anything Tom Brokaw ever did. They really besmirched the reputation of Tom Brokaw and certainly of Tim Russert by their very presence on the network these people were on. I think about all the attacks on Rush Limbaugh by so many on the left in the New York Times, at CNN, and ABC, NBC, CBS, MSNBC, daily these attacks on Rush Limbaugh. And from Ed Schultz, can you name me any one of those people who've attacked Rush Limbaugh who have ever pointed out what Ed Schultz said and condemned him for it? This shows the hypocrisy, Sean, of this whole issue. They don't care what Rush said. What they care about is getting Rush, which is two very, very different things.
I mean, this is the interesting thing about this. Now, I don't really want to go back into, I know Reverend Sharpton, he's been a guest on the program. We always debate, interview controversial figures, people I agree with, people I don't agree with. I don't want to go back into the golden oldies of Reverend Al Sharpton, but you have written a letter to NBC and Comcast. What are you trying to do?
Well, I didn't want to either, but there comes a point where enough is enough. There comes a point where you get just plain sick and tired of the hypocrisy, of the raging hypocrisy of this network, where you have one host after another who on the record has made statements that are 100 times more offensive than what Rush Limbaugh has said, and no one's been called into account for it. It's time conservatives start calling them into account for what they're doing. And it's time that
they're showing such a selective moral outrage about these things. And we could literally spend the entire hour tonight just on NBC News personalities. And let's take a look at Reverend Sharpton, some of the things that he has said, and some of their election night coverage.
If by some chance Mitt Romney wins Mississippi tonight, if that happens, it will be the strangest thing. The state with the least voting for the candidate who has the most.
No, well, that shows you where hate and inciting hate defies all reason. Because as poor as the economy is in Mississippi and in Alabama, for them to vote for the richest guy who endorses the policies that reinforces their economic problems.
Now, it's come out this week in the American Spectator that in the past he's used the N-word against the first African-American mayor of New York City, the term Greek homos, a derogatory term for gays and lesbians, and it goes on. And yet he's talking about inciting hate, but yet all of this was available and they still hired him. And the question is, I go back to, you know, and I don't remember, and there's even apparently Brian Williams and Al Sharpton have been together, but they're doing stories about conservative talk radio.
This man just airbrushed the entirety of the South as being haters because the only reason you vote for Mitt Romney is because you are a hater. If Rush Limbaugh said that about the liberals today, that they're haters if they vote for Barack Obama, look at the things he'd be accused of there. Al Sharpton is a hey, I'm still waiting for Tawana Brawley. I'm still waiting for an explanation on that one. This guy has gotten away with so much because he intimidates them so badly. Well, I'm sick of being I mean, he doesn't intimidate me, but I think people have to stop being intimidated by people like that. They've got to start calling them out, and they've got to start calling out their bosses, the people who hired them, who employed them.
We learned from the Daily Caller and Tucker Carlson and their investigative piece that media matters for America, that they write the primetime lineup scripts every night. And we've seen this in the case of Rush Limbaugh, while they ignore all the instances of liberals going over the line. Now, David Axelrod spoke out earlier tonight, and he was questioned about the comments of Bill Maher. Now, we talked about his comments involving Governor Palin and the C word, et cetera, and T word, and all these things, and the $1 million that they won't give back. And he's trying to make the argument, well, that Bill Maher is different. Now, here's Bill Maher attacking the children, not only of Governor Palin, which he's done, but now the children also of Rick Santorum. Watch this.
It's no coincidence that the type of tree which God forbade Adam and Eve eating from was the tree of knowledge. Rick Santorum homeschools his children because he does not want them eating that apple. He wants them locked up in the Christian madrasa that is the family living room, not out in public where they could be infected by the virus of reason.
You know, and he's trying to say that that's acceptable, that $1 million doesn't deserve to be returned when the president himself just lectured the country on tone and civility and discourse.
I've had it with hypocrisy. If you're going to defend Bill Maher's right to free speech and defend his right to free expression, you cannot condemn Rush Limbaugh for what he said. You can't play both those games. And what you didn't even you had to bleep out Bill Maher in this show. You don't want to even bleep out the worst stuff that's in there because it's so bad everybody will know what it is he's saying. What he calls Sarah Palin. No conservative ever lowers himself to this. Bill Maher does this on every show, on every night. And all those people who condemn Rush, where are they? Chirp, chirp, chirp. You don't hear a word. You've never heard a word from the National Organization of Women. Well, you did from them.
I have heard from individual conservative groups that if the left continues this, that they're going to go after every liberal on radio and on NBC News, and they're going to use the same tactics against them. I don't believe in boycotts myself. I don't want boycotts. But it seems to be fair play if they're trying to destroy a format in radio and attack every conservative, and they only have selective outrage about conservative speech but not liberal speech. It seems that if they're going to try and put conservatives out of business, that they would have to expect the same for them.
You know, I'm uncomfortable with this chilling of speech,
but
it's got to stop being a one-way street. It's time to tell these people, you want to fight fire? We've got a whole lot more than you've got, and if you want to make an issue of it, we're going to make it a much bigger. We're going to make you rue the day you tried this.
And you believe that this will be a huge issue?
I think this thing is backfiring already. It's backfiring because the American people are seeing exactly what's going on. This is hypocrisy at its absolute worst.
All right, Brent Bozell, always good to see you, and we'll continue to follow the story.